you doing? We'll pull about a little bit. Have a little pull and a push.
All right.
He's on the payroll.
You and Calzaghe in an exhibition would be great, wouldn't it?
He's not going to take that though, because that won't be an exhibition.
Sure?
Yeah, it could work.
Huh?
A lot of weight, not a bit of weight. Weighing even more now. I've got this ring on.
Hello, welcome to Talk Boxing with me, Spence Oliver. We're on episode number 35. Still no Simon Jordan in the house, but not to worry. We've got the Cobra Cole Froch replacing him again this week. The Hall of Famer, Mr. Cole Froch. Cole, notice you got your ring there as well, mate.
Oh, you picked up on that one sharpish, didn't you?
I did, mate. I did.
So I was disappointed last week I didn't wear the ring. Now, I don't wear the ring every day. I don't wear it. It's big. Have you seen that film Kingpin with Bill Murray and Woody Harrelson? With the bowling one where he loses, he's got a rubber hand, doesn't it? And he puts the rings very similar to that, if not identical.
It's very 80s, mate.
It's not an everyday ring. It's a ring that you wear for an occasion.
And
today's they were talking boxing today. So the ring's there. And I know you missed it last week. So
I did, mate. I missed it a lot. But listen, before we start this show, guys, do not forget to like the videos, subscribe to the channel, and more importantly, write your messages in the boxes below. So look, Cole, let's get on with it. We've got a busy show here. We've got the controversy, Maxi Hughes and George Kambosos over the weekend. We're going to talk Tyson Fury's documentary as well, the Netflix documentary.
Yep.
But we've got to start with Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence, the big undisputed welterweight title fight this week. What's your thoughts on it?
Great fight. I'm glad it's happening. It's almost going back to the four kings in the 80s and 90s. You know, Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran Hagler, Thomas Earns, the best fighting the best. And it might be a little bit too late, but I don't think it's past its sell-by date. I think these two fighters are still potentially priming. I know Crawford's a bit older, he's got more experience, but with age comes wisdom. And we saw Hopkins, didn't we, mature as he got older and become a better, more rounded fighter. Work rate wasn't quite there, but he was able to do things a bit differently. And if he was behind, he's able to step on the gas, tie his opponent up. I just think this is a great fight. Both got common opponents as well. I mean, the Kell Brook one really, for me, stands out because they both fought Kell. I thought that Errol Spence did a better job with Kell Brook than what Terence Crawford did. But Terence Crawford obviously had Kell Brook after the Spence. And poor old Kell Brook was chucked in there with Gennady Golovkin. I don't think a welterweight should ever be jumping up to fight not only a middleweight, but the biggest punching middleweight of all bloody time, arguably, with Gennady Golovkin. And he had that damage, didn't he, to his eye socket, Kell Brook, in that one. And then after that, I mean, it wasn't straight. Was it straight after? But he fought Crawford after the Errol Spence fight.
Yeah. No, he fought Errol Spence after the Golovkin fight.
After the Golovkin fight, but then Crawford fought him after both of them.
That's right.
I think Spence had a better version of Kell Brook, and I thought he beat him up. I thought he did a better job. I know Crawford stopped him earlier, but I just think the common opponents, this is a close fight. This is 50-50. And I was thinking Crawford. Now I'm changing my mind a little bit and thinking Errol Spence. That's how close this fight is. But it's a great one. It's great for boxing. It's happening.
It is a fascinating fight. I mean, look, if you break it down, I think Terence Crawford was down at lightweight. He was lightweight champion, super lightweight champion. Now he's up at welterweight, and he's a welterweight champion, looking to become undisputed. But the guy is naturally the smaller of the two.
Yep.
Errol Spence has
naturally bigger.
Naturally bigger of the.
No, you're right. Errol Spence is Errol Spence is a naturally bigger guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I think that could be also. I missed it in a minute. The deciding factor.
Yeah.
They say a good big and always beats a good little.
Yeah.
I'd always beat you up, wouldn't I?
Well, I'm not sure.
No, I would.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. If
Listen,
that would.
ego aside, I'd always am because I'm bigger than you.
Yeah, but I'm bigger than you now.
And you're great. You was a great fighter.
Yeah. No, but I know what you're saying. But look, going into, he is a natural welterweight, Errol Spence. He's been there as an amateur. He's there as a pro. He is the naturally bigger of the two. But does he have the mobility, the adaptability that Terence Crawford has? Because that's what could win this fight. The guy that could change it up a little bit. Because as you said, Cole, it's a 50-50 fight, flip of a coin. No one really knows who's going to win it. It's all an opinion. But if you break it down and get into it, Terence Crawford is naturally has the better boxing ability. I think he's the one that can adapt. He can change things and whatnot. But Errol Spence has the size and the power, doesn't he?
Less miles on the clock.
Yeah.
Errol Spence.
Yeah.
Naturally bigger. And again, they're both unbeaten. So they're both ambitious. Neither of these guys want to lose. So they're going to all leave it in the ring. And I think it does gel for a great fight.
Yeah.
There's the old adage, styles make fights. But these two, they're not holders. They're not spoilers. They're not ducking low.
Tactically, how do you think? I mean, let's start with Terence Crawford. Tactically, how do you think Terence Crawford wins this fight?
Terence Crawford can do what he wants because he's got the ability to box.
Do you think mobility is the key with him, though?
Well, mobility might win it, but Errol Spence can adapt as well.
Yeah.
He's a great fight. He'll cut the ring off and he'll back him up. This is just going to be down to, I think, who wants it more on the day and who's put the hard work in, who's got that engine, because they're both unbelievably fantastic, talented fighters in their own right, and they've both got pros and cons to their style. Errol Spencer can do everything, so can Crawford. I think Crawford bangs a little bit harder. He's got more experience. He's had a lot more fights, and that could be the difference. Just that wisdom and that ring craft, and the fact that he's experienced and he can turn a fight a little bit if it's not going his way. He's able to adapt, I think, a little bit more than Errol Spence. But Errol Spence can do the same. He can adapt. He can change the pattern. They're both top, great champions. And I don't think there's ever going to be a one-sided winner in this. And my first thought when the fight was made that Crawford can win this fight, because he can sit behind the jab, he can box and move, and when he has to, he will stand and have a fight. And I mean, they can both bang. But Errol Spence, you can't write him off because he's just also a fantastic talent at the top of his game. So
you know, both guys switch styles and whatnot.
Yep.
Do you think this determines the legacy for both fighters, this one? Because this is a fight that's been in the making now for a number of years. It's a fight that we thought we wasn't going to get. Now we've got it. You know, real boxing fans know that this is the best fight in boxing today.
Absolutely.
Right now.
They're both going to go down as all-time greats, whatever happens. But the winner's going to go down as the great. You know, and it's a glossy division, the welterweight division.
Yeah.
It's the glamour division at the minute. I know we've always got the heavyweights and everyone talks about the heavyweights, but this is, for me, this is the best fight to happen in many years. It's the ultimate fight between two top, well-respected champions. And it's tough to pick a winner, and I'm jumping back and forth from Crawford winning to Spence winning. Yeah. I just can't wait. Do you want to go out there and watch it? Should we just...
Do you know what? I would love to do that. I would love to do that.
Jump on a flight and I'll treat you. I'll upgrade you to business. No, I'll do that for you.
If you do it, mate, I'm there.
Come with me.
Let's do it.
So let's
when we leave this studio, we'll go jump on a plane.
Just speak to the missus first and let me know.
No, I'm all clear.
No,
I'm all good, mate.
Yeah?
I'm all good. Yeah.
Sweet.
Cole, another common opponent that they've got is Sean Porter. Now, Errol Spence won by split decision, and Terence Crawford stopped him in 10 rounds. Yeah. Does that tell you a little something?
It does tell you. It does tell you a little bit, yeah. But you know, how motivated was Porter going into both of these fights? You know, how was he on the weight? It's just, you can fight somebody 10 times, you're not going to win them all. Yeah, so you can take something from that and say that Crawford's probably the favourite, and that's probably why one of the reasons why people are making Crawford the slight favourite. But I'm not looking too much into that. Sean Porter always turns up and he always puts on a great performance on it every time he fights.
Well, Sean Porter's one of those guys that's the smaller of the men as well. Like Errol Spence is the bigger of all three of those, isn't he? But yet the movement, the mobility, the punch precision from Terence Crawford in that fight, and he slowly broke Porter down. You know, used his boxing IQ, broke him down, wore him down, stopped him in 10. Whereas the stronger of the two, you'd think, is Errol Spence, a guy that likes to grind you down a little bit, but with finesse. You know what I mean? He takes it, he works his angles, boxes well, breaks his opponents down, like we saw against Kell Brook. But he couldn't get Porter out of there. Does that tell you anything?
I suppose,
you read anything into that?
I suppose just the punching power and the strength. But I think he's bigger and stronger than Crawford, just because he is naturally bigger. Yeah. So I don't think you can take too much from. He's fought him. Styles met fight, so you know you could fight somebody and then lose to him, and then someone else could fight and beat him. And so you think the guy that's beat him, you're going to lose to, and then you can go in there and smash the guy that beat him to bits. That's just how boxing is. So it's great that they've got a common opponent. People can look at it and compare it. You can't take too much from it, because when these two guys jump in there, they're going to probably be at their best. And what does the best Crawford do against the best Errol Spence? We're going to find out, but nobody actually knows.
Give me a winner.
I want to say Terence Crawford, but I also want to say Errol Spence, because as I've looked at this and it's getting closer and closer, I'm starting to think, you know what, the naturally bigger man is Errol Spence. And that size, for me, could be the difference, especially down the home stretch. And Crawford's a little bit older. It's got more ring rounds, more miles on the clock. So I think I'm switching, mate. I don't know you're going to go Crawford because you like the safe bet. So I'm going to go Errol Spence to rip the script up.
I'm going Terence Crawford. I'm going to tell you how it's won as well.
Go on.
I'm going to tell you
Enlighten me with your knowledge, your font of knowledge.
I'm going to tell you how it's won. I think Terence Crawford wins. Split decision.
Really? You might as well just said a draw.
Nah, you go with a draw if you want. You're the one that's been sitting on the fence. You're the one with blister.
No, I thought Crawford was going to do the job, and now I'm looking at it and analysing it and being a professional analyst and doing my research and looking at all the notes and looking back at some old fights. I think Spencer's the slight favourite.
Nice.
Spence.
Nice.
But it's a great fight.
Brilliant.
Should we have a fiver on it?
It's on.
You can give me
let,
that.
let the people see. Do you want to
Winston,
go? Shall I go over?
There's a Winston Churchill on this. Yeah, come on then. What are you doing? Why are you holding back? What are you doing? We'll pull about a little bit. Have a little pull and a push.
All right.
£5.
Fiver.
Errol Spence.
You heard it here first. Well, Cole, listen. Let's move on. We're going to move back into the heavyweights. Tyson Fury. He's got a new series coming out, documentary coming out, At Home with the Furies.
On Netflix.
On Netflix. I think that comes out on August the 16th.
Yeah.
What do you make of it? Do you think it's a good idea, bad idea at this stage, like whilst he's in the prime of his career?
I think it's a fantastic idea for him because they pay good money. It's about 75, 80 grand a show. I think last time I was looking at that because I was doing something in Marbella with a friend of mine who's got a real estate company and was trying to do that selling the sunset type thing, but in Marbella. So it's big bunts, mate. You know, Tyson's all about the bunts. That's why he's taking this Ngannou joke shop fight because he's getting paid well.
Yeah. Well,
So,
you can't knock him for that, can you?
Can't knock him. In fact, that's probably one of the reasons why this Ngannou fight's happening as well, because Netflix love a bit of controversy, they love a bit of glam and a bit of an event, and that'll fit perfectly in with his little show.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great idea. Like in the world that we live in, I think going behind the scenes, seeing Tyson Fury, his family,
And he got
at
a show
home
anyway.
with the kids. Huh?
He's got a show anyway, hasn't he, Tyson Fury? Has he
No,
not?
that is the show. Yeah, he's been filming it for ages now. They filmed it,
So
and it comes out on the
that's one
16th.
So it's not been aired yet?
It's not been aired yet. It starts on the 16th. But I think it's a great idea, and I think talking about the Ngannou fight and probably being part of that Netflix series, you're getting paid the money he's getting paid, October. And why not put Usyk on the burner? Because the fight will happen. The undisputed fight will happen at some point. Yeah. I know the boxing fans are frustrated with it, but let him go out there fight Ngannou, something a little bit different.
When we say it's great, it's not so much great for boxing. It's
a
great,
business though,
It's
Cole,
great for Tyson Fury. It's not really great for anybody else. It might be great for Netflix if they get the views, because that's what they're doing, they're selling subscription. But from a boxing point of view, I don't know how great it is. It will give an insight to his life. And imagine how mad his life is of all his kids. He's got 6 kids on it. And
yeah,
you're thinking there's 7, aren't you?
Well, yeah, I think I was. I don't know why I'm thinking
he's got
that.
6, but
okay.
Yeah, I think it'll be a great insight to the life of somebody who's come
what
from
do you
the
think
travelling
we'll see
community.
in it?
I think we'll see more of Tyson Fury. We'll see, as in, I think he'll relax a little bit more and he'll open up. Instead, when he's in front of the camera and he's calling out Usyk and he's giving AJ stick and he's calling everybody a house and his big dossers and all that, and that's why we love him, because he's TV gold. I think we'll see another side to him, the father and the husband. And, I know that he's a nice man because I was with him. He made his professional debut on the undercard of my world title fight. I trained with him in Ireland and I know what he's like. He's a very grounded family man.
Well, that's what people want to know, Cole, is like, what is the real Tyson Fury? Because we see this character in front of the camera, like we saw Nassim Hamed, who was a totally different character. He was flashy, he was brash, but off camera, he's actually a really nice geezer, really nice guy.
Well, we all are, aren't we? Because when we're not fighting, we're eating what we want, we're comfortable, we're relaxed, and we've got nothing to worry about.
Yeah, but it's a character that they build up as
exactly.
well,
But when we're fighting, we're making weight. I mean, Tyson doesn't so much make weight, but he still has to drop weight and still has to get himself in fighting shape. And you're angry and you're annoyed and you hate the world and you've got a fight coming up, so you're nervous and you're apprehensive and you're worried and all these emotions are running through. And this is mostly when we see Tyson, when he's edgy and ready to fight or getting ready for a fight. But now this will show another side to him. So like I said, it's going to be great for Tyson Fury, great for his fan base.
Boost his popularity.
Yeah, but I don't know how great it's going to be for boxing. It is what it is. We're in the boxing game. We're not in the Tyson Fury going on Netflix and being a superstar game, are we? So
the people that will be watching this show, a lot of them just boxing fans.
Yeah. What
do you think it will be like for them? Do you think it'll be... Because I think it's great for them to find out, to get inside the actual person, because they're then more invested, surely, in Tyson Fury, the boxer, when they know him on a personal level.
Absolutely,
and that's what they're going to get.
Yeah, you get more involved when you know the personalities more. That's why the Contender series did so well in America when it came over. You look at that, you get to know the fighters, you get to see the family, the wife or kids if they've got them. And then you build up this personality, this relationship with the guy on the TV. You either like him or you dislike him, or you want him to win or you want him to get beat. And then all of a sudden the fight's on, and you're not really watching it because you love boxing. You're watching it because you want to see how he gets on.
Yeah.
So this is going to be great. I don't know how brilliant it is for boxing, but it's like I said earlier, it's really, really good for Tyson Fury. It's going to get his character out there and his personality out there in more depth. It might bring a new audience to boxing, maybe not, but. Bottom line is, it's going to cha-ching the bank balance and then in plenty of bunts.
Yeah, exactly.
And I know you like the bunts. I like the bunts.
Listen, I like the bunts.
Nice little earner.
We talked about the bunts, didn't we?
We did. We often talk about the bunts.
Out in Saudi, we had an in-depth conversation about the bunts.
For those of you who don't know what bunts is, Bunsen burner, nice little earner. Hence the That's done in true
exactly.
David Brent style.
So listen, Cole, Tyson has always mentioned that it's not about the money. You said there that, you know, this documentary is good for him because it is the money.
Bollocks.
And with him doing that doing the documentary in the prime of his career, really, with the big fights on the table that they are, do you think it's changed him at all? Do you think it's starting to become about the money?
I think it's probably always been about the money. And why wouldn't it be? We're prize fighters.
Yeah.
We're professional boxers. We don't do it for fun. We don't do it for medals. We do it to get a fat paycheck at the end of it. We're putting our lives on the line. So if you can get paid more, and that's why I said this Ngannou fight isn't good for boxing. Don't tell us it's a game changer. You know, that's what Bricktop told us. It's a game changer. We was all excited by it. And then he pulls that fight out of the bag. And it's like, hang on a minute, we're all disappointed. The only reason we got so disappointed is because it's not a proper boxing match. And
Yeah.
Tyson Fury's always been about the money.
But like you say,
if you're not about the
fighting,
money,
it is like this. So I just think, you know what, if this opportunity's come up, you know, to be fair, Frank Warren was saying the Saudis couldn't come up for the money to make that fight with Usyk and Tyson Fury in December, and they needed to be active. All the other guys we know, are active. We've got Daniel Dubois Usyk, August the 26th.
Listen,
We've got Andy Joshua, August 12th. So he was saying, I need a tick-over fight. Why wouldn't I take this with all the money on the table? And for the very casual fan, there'll be UFC fans that go, I fancy a bit of that. I think Ngannou does it. I think Ngannou gives him a go.
Yeah, there'll be a few clueless people that think Ngannou can win. A few, like properly clueless people. Like,
interesting. Did you see the comments, by the way, from Joe Joyce? He's sparred Ngannou.
Yeah.
And he was saying how he can't be underestimated, that he's got phenomenal
He's on the
power.
payroll.
He's got phenomenal power.
Is he promoted by Queensbury and Frank
Listen,
Warren?
don't shoot the messenger. I'm just passing. I'm just saying from what Joe Joyce said, he's got phenomenal power. He doesn't think that he wins, but he said he's got to be careful that he doesn't switch off because he has that one punch knockout power.
And that's why people get a little bit excited and people think, oh, what if? But the reality is he's doing it for the money because he's getting paid a fortune. And fair play to him. It is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, listen, what would happen if the Cobra was offered one of these fights out in, Saudi or in the Middle East somewhere? Yeah, now.
No. I've just been offered a potential fight in Saudi.
Really?
For 7 figures.
You're going to break it?
By my old mate, the Haymaker.
Really?
Yeah, I've got the message on my phone. I'm not going to go into it because it's talk at the
David
minute.
Hay wants to fight you?
No, David Hayes out there moving and shaking. And he sent me a message saying, how about a fight in Saudi around Christmas time?
Any names mentioned?
Decent bunts, no names at all.
No names?
No.
It's got to be someone decent with a Cobra.
Apparently, it don't need to be a name.
You and Calzaghe in an exhibition would be great, wouldn't it?
He's not going to take that, though, because that won't be an exhibition.
Sure?
Listen, if me and Calzaghe, so even if we had a chat as close as we are now and went, look, let's just put a show on. We're both getting paid. Everyone's going to want to see it. It's going to be great. Round one, he hits me with a southpaw jab, because he will do, because he's quicker than me. And then I hit him with a big dirty uppercut, and I hurt him, because I'm stronger than him. All of a sudden, the exhibition's out the window. It becomes a full-on war. And that's worth more than £1 million quid. That's worth 10 million quid.
Maxi Hughes versus George Kambosos was boxing for Maxi Hughes' IBF lightweight title.
Bit of a dodgy decision, that, wasn't it?
Terrible decision. And I know it caused a bit of an uproar and a big stink, and that's why we had to bring it in as one of the topics here, because we had other stuff that we were going to talk
Keeps
about.
Keeps happening, doesn't it?
We had
Cattrall Taylor, everyone went mental.
And that's what I want to talk to you about, Cole. Like, I'm looking at the fight. I watched the fight back. And I've gone, well, Maxi Hughes has won that by 4 or 5 rounds. Yeah. And it happens so much in boxing, too much in boxing. I mean, Taylor Cattrall was one that's more recent. Zhilei Zhang, when he lost out to Filip Hrgovic, out on the undercard of AJ and Usyk out in Saudi. That was another one that I thought was a bad decision. What can we do to change that? Because, I mean, it's such a, for the casual fan, they sort of get pissed off with these dodgy results. Because what it's done for Maxi Hughes is he's lost his IBO title. Right, Kambosos, but what was on the line was it was the IBF mandatory position. So now with the IBF, to just break it down a little bit, with the IBF champion at the moment is Devin Haney. There's talk of Devin Haney moving up to 140 to box Regis Prograis for the WBC title. Then that means the IBF title becomes vacant. I think they should do the right thing here, and this is what could be done, is say let Maxi Hughes and Kambosos go over old ground again for the vacant IBF title, because as it stands at the moment, Kambosos now looks like he's going to be boxing for the IBF title, whether that's Devin Haney or whether that's someone else. And poor old Maxi Hughes comes out with nothing. And I just think it's wrong, and it leaves a bad, bad taste in the viewers' mouths.
Well, any new audience coming over to boxing to watch this fight, they'll be sitting watching that and then thinking, hang on, this Maxi Hughes has won this fight and he's not got the decision. So then that will straight away put a potential new audience off the sport. So it's bad for the sport from that point of view. But more so for that, the detriment for Maxi Hughes, what it's got on his future, like you just mentioned there, you know, his next fight was potentially a massive payday for him, a big opportunity to become world champion, is now obliterated. Yeah. All because judges can't seem to see what's going off in the ring. So your question was, what do we do about it? How do we solve this problem? You listen. How do you reinvent the wheel? You can't. I mean, there's 3 judges ringside. They're all watching the fight, but there's got to be ideas that people can put to the board. I mean, the British Boxing Board of Control, they'll talk about it. They'll agree with people saying it was a close one or it was a robbery, but then nothing seems to happen about it. And I'm not digging out the Board of Control, because to try and bring in new legislation or new rules and a new regulation on when judging a fight, it's got to be really hard, even close to impossible, because everyone's got to agree on it. But how about this for a suggestion? You've got 3 judges sitting at ringside. You've also got everybody sitting at home watching it. And I'm not going to suggest people at home judge it. But let's get 3 judges in a room where they can't see the fight live from a certain side of the ring, watching it on the television, on the screen. So there's 3 judges away from each other, all watching what the viewers are watching.
In a silent room.
Exactly. Let them score it. Yeah. And let their cards be the second opinion, almost like the Hawkeye in tennis, or the when they go to the screen on football, when they're checking the, what do they call that? I don't know, VIR or something. Yeah. So do the judging, and that's it. That's what stands like 100%, like 95% of the time. But in times of a crisis, when people are going mental, the judge is a bit like, "Oh, have you got it that wide? Well, I've got it for this guy." They must all have a chat, because it takes ages to announce a decision. Yeah. I'll tell you what. Let's go to the Hawkeye. Let's have a look at what these 3 that watched it on television are saying. And if they're all majority or conclusively agreeing on one guy, then get them 6 scores together and take the best score out of all 6. I think that would be a suggestion. It would cost more money. It'd take a little bit more to set up. It could still be corrupt. It could still be political, of course, but you're less likely to get such a bad decision. Don't forget, these judges sit at ringside. You've sat yourself at ringside commentating on fights, and you watch the fight and you think, he's winning this. And then you get home the next day or on that night and you watch it back and you think, oh, actually, that was a lot closer than what I thought. I get that. That's because you're seeing it from one side. Well, and when the opponent's got his back to you, you're not watching shots land.
Well, let me just explain this, right? So, like, watching that fight, when I watched it at home, I say, right, Maxi Hughes has won probably first 4 or 5 rounds. Lost the 6th round. He had an unbelievable fight, 5th round, actually. Cut George Kambosos. 6th round, they had a clash of heads. Seemed to scramble him a little bit, actually. Yep. It took him a couple of rounds to get back to it. Kambosos nicked a few rounds back. And then the final quarter of the fight, Maxi Hughes took it. Yeah, he come back into it again. Took over and looked like a clear winner. Explain this to me, Cole. Guys that are meant to be professional judges, A-star judges. One of the judges scored it 117-111. In favour of Kambosos, right? And we're on neutral ground. It's in Oklahoma. So one kid's from Australia, one kid from England. We're in there. How did we come up with 117-111? Because, look, we might misjudge, like, it might be subjective scoring on the rounds where you go, Spence, I think he nicked that by round. I might know, Cole, no, I think the other geezer nicked it.
It's too one-sided, isn't it?
When you go 6 rounds, Cole, and you're watching a fight where you go,
in a close fight,
he's won the first 5 rounds.
In a close fight, you can have a 6-round swing, but not in a one-sided fight where everybody's pretty much agreeing that this fight's won by Hughes. Most people, 90% of people will say that. Obviously, the fans for the opponent won't say that. Well, that's obvious. Yeah.
I saw, who was it? I saw Timothy Bradley was working out there for, who was he working out there for? Top Rank. Yep. He was doing some stuff out there for Top Rank, I think it was. And he said he was disgraced with the decision. He was at ringside. So I'm watching it on the TV. I think who's won. He's at ringside, right? And he's a great judge of character, great fighter himself. And he said he was absolutely appalled at that decision. And actually, whoever judged against him should be pulled in front of whatever commission and their license should be taken from him.
Well, we've seen it 2 or 3 times, haven't we, in the recent months, in a few fights. But over the years, we've seen it far too many times. So, like I said earlier, something maybe needs to change with the judging. And I don't know, that's my little idea. 3 judges at ringside, 3 judges sat in the room watching it on TV. You heard it here first. We've got royalties on that if you go with it.
The Cobra's got a bit of weight as well.
Yeah, it could work. Huh? Got a lot of weight, not a bit of weight. Weighing even more now I've got this ring on.
Right. On that note, Cole, let's leave it there. That's it for episode number 35 of Talk Boxing. Remember, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave those comments in the boxes below. Until Sunday, our Q&A. See you then.